Hi guys, welcome to another Thursday tutorial with Jesse James Beads. I'm Sarah Ellis. We've got a really fun thing to do today. Making sure that I hit the button here. I did. Just want to be sure that I'm actually talking to people and not just talking to myself. Hi everybody, how are you doing this afternoon? Sarah did a quick little intro for you guys to show you a little bit, give you a little bit of a hint about what it is that we're going to be doing today. We're using some of my very, very favorite things today. We're using some of that fairy silk that she showed you. We're using some really cool chain. We're going to be using Dakota Stones. I mean, the list just goes on and on. All of the great things that we're doing or that we're using today. We're also going to be using another one of these variety packs of the findings from Bead. And again, if you guys, excuse me, if you guys didn't see these last week, we used the gunmetal color. This week we're using the antique brass color. They come in a lot of different colors, and of course you can find them all on the Jesse James website, as well as all of the other things that are here in our project today. So let me give you a little sneak peek of the earring, and then we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. Okay, so I've taken some of that really awesome silk and wrapped it around one of the links to this really amazing chain that I can't wait to show you guys either. It's just pretty awesome. And then we're using the Dakota Stones. We're using the creamsicle. Let me grab my notes. The Madagascar creamsicle Dakota Stones bead strand. That's a mouthful. That's why I had to write it down, because that's a big long one. We used it once before, but this one's one of my favorites, so we're using it again, and I hope you guys love it too, because it's really pretty. It's got some of that orange Botswana agate in it that is absolutely to die for. So that's what we're using. It also has some really pretty glass beads as well. And the silk. The silk is actually in a 3-pack. It's called Chocolate Covered Cherry Trio, and I'm going to show that to you up close so you can see it. It's amazing stuff. So without further ado, let's get started with the project. Alrighty. There we go. All right, so here is the silk. Let me adjust my light just a little bit for you guys. I don't know if that made it any better or any worse. Hi guys, hi Angie, hi Suzanne. So glad you guys are here today. All right, so this is the silk trio. It has this really beautiful chocolate brown color, this awesome maroon color, and then this peachy color. And the peachy color is what we're going to use in today's project. The back, it's really lightweight, it feels good against your skin, so just a really cool option. But then instead of doing it that way, if you wanted to, you can twist the end of it. It's got a nice little twist here, and then you can thread on some of your larger hole beads. And look, just 2 or 3 of these tied on, and then wrap this around as like a multi-strand wrap bracelet, or tie it behind your neck. You don't even have to use any findings with this. Just tie it behind your neck, and you've got, well, I can get that through there. Oh, I can't seem to get that one to go through. Let's see. I'm going to grab it with my pliers real quick just to show you. There we go. Okay, I was just told that the feed froze and everybody should refresh. Yeah, and of course Sarah is there to the rescue. Thank you. So I don't know what you guys missed, but I was just talking about how awesome this silk is, and how instead of what we're doing with it today, you can thread on. See some of these large hole Jesse James beads, they look beautiful on this, and you could just thread on 2 or 3 of these and tie it behind your neck and just wear it as a necklace just like that. I mean, talk about easy wear and go. Say you've got an outfit that you're wanting to wear out but you don't have any jewelry, you could throw something together really fast, and it would be lightweight and definitely perfect for this time of year. So cool for that. You can also mix it up with the chain, which is another way that I really love to use it. So I have some of this really cool, this is like antique copper chain from Jesse James Beads, of course. You can take this stuff and thread it through and kind of weave it through the links of your chain, which I think is a really, really cool look as well. So you're still going to be able to see the chain, but it just kind of adds more texture to your design. And then of course you go the whole length and you can add your bead dangles or whatever to it, and then you just tie this. You don't have to use any special findings or anything for it. You just tie it to your chain, to your links, or you could just leave it free flowing and tie it together once you put the bracelet on or necklace or whatever. It's really, really awesome stuff, and it's extra special because, like Sarah said, this stuff is hand dyed. So the attention to detail here is just through the roof. You can't beat that. And I saw one of the comments that said that it was really hard to find this stuff. I can agree with you. I have a really hard time finding silk cord where I live. And when I saw that this was on the Jessie James website, I immediately emailed Sarah and I was like, please send me some silk cord because I love it and I love using it, but it really is super hard to find. And the fact that you can get this hand dyed through Jessie James Beads, I mean, you've got like the cream of the crop here. This is not just, you know, from your box store. This is really special stuff. So when you're using it, you know that you're putting a lot of love into your design when you're using hand-dyed silks. So we're going to use the peach, and you actually get really long strands of this. I've cut mine in half and still have a really, really long strand of this, okay, which is perfect. We're going to make 2 earrings. Well, I'm only going to make 1 for you, but you're obviously going to make a set of earrings unless, you know, rocking 1 earring is your thing. But I cut it in half so there's enough to make 2 earrings. You could actually cut this into 4ths. You could make 2 earrings and still have leftovers for something else if you wanted to as well. So this is what we're using. We're using this pink peachy color, and then we're using, just like I said, we're using this Dakota Stones strand that has that beautiful peachy Botswana agate, and those are the beads we're going to be using. We're going to use some of these glass beads as well. But I just thought that the pinks and the peaches in the agate was just the perfect complement. See how good that looks together? I love it. Even my nail polish goes with all this today. It's a sign. It's meant to be. All right, so let's talk about the chain because we've just kind of hinted on that. Look at this chain, you guys. Oh, wow. Okay, I love a good big link chain, and they are, again, like the silk, it's really, really hard to find. So it was exciting to get this in the mail. I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't realize how big the links were going to be, and there are so many things you can do with this. I love it all by itself. You could add bead dangles to this, or you could do what I did and you could separate out the links. And that's what we're doing for today's project, okay? And I've taken out the largest round link that was in that chain, and it's that textured link that I absolutely love. And this is a soldered ring, so it's not going to pull apart. This is like super heavy duty stuff right here. I mean, it's not heavy, but you know what I mean. The quality is definitely on the top notch for this. All right, so we're going to use this as our base. And then we're going to pull out that peachy agate. And one of these, I'm going to use the 6mm glass bead. There's some bigger ones in this mix too, but I think we're going to go with that 6mm just because I really want the agate bead to be the feature. Okay, and we're going to use some antique brass German style wire. You can also get this on the Jessie James Beads website. Okay, we're going to do some really simple wire wrapping. Don't be intimidated by this project at all. I know the earring looks crazy, but there's really not anything hard going on here. It just takes a little bit of practice, and I'm here to walk you through it. We've basically done all of these things before in other videos, so it's not nearly as hard as it might look at first glance. I promise you. Promise you. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of this antique brass wire, and we are using, let's see, it's 20 gauge, and I've got about a 20, I'm sorry, not a 20. Yeah, no, I do. I've got about a 20-inch piece. That might be a little bit overkill, but just like I always say, it's better to be safe than sorry. You cannot add wire in a design like this, so it's better to start out with more than you need, okay? So the very first thing we're going to do is we're just going to anchor our wire to our link here. And to do that, we're just going to make a little bend. And I don't know, I think we talked about this before. The first couple of wraps, these are considered, this is what I consider the throwaway wrap, okay? Because they're never very pretty. That first anchor wrap and the first couple of wraps that you make, that one turned out pretty good, if I must say so. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes the first couple of wraps turn out pretty ugly, and you can always trim those off later. But all we want to do really is just kind of anchor that wire. So I've wrapped 2 good wraps, and we're going to add some more wraps here, but first we want to get that all attached. Let me move this chain out of the way. I feel like I keep clanging up against it. Okay, now we're going to take half of our silk cord piece, or silk ribbon rather. It is definitely not cord. And you can see how at the very end of this it tapers down, which is what helps you get through the larger hole beads that you have. And this is also going to be this piece that we're going to use to anchor our ribbon to our link. Okay, and this is going to be messy. We want it to be. We want this to be messy. We want it to be organic. And I like it when it frays. That's a personal preference of mine, but I just feel like it gives it that more kind of boho chic look if it starts to fray a little bit. So, oh, sorry. I'm just going to hold that against the link, and I'm also holding it against the wire wraps that I made. Okay, so I'm actually kind of covering those up, which is totally fine. And now I'm going to just come through the center, and I'm going to wire wrap that on, and I'm going to do like 2 good wraps, another 2 good wraps, just to get this secured on one end. I'll move my hands out of the way here in just a second. I'm sorry, it's a little awkward. Okay, so we've got this anchored on here. It's not going anywhere, and you can see those are not the prettiest wraps in the whole world, but I totally don't care. That's the way we want this look to look. Okay, so now we're going to let go of the wire because now it's all about the ribbon. We're going to take the ribbon and wrap it around, and we just want to cover the surface of our link, our chain link here, and we're going to do halfway. Okay, so we don't want to do the whole link. We're just going to go till we get to the other side here. Okay, and you can do this a couple of different ways if you want to, and I kind of encourage you to try doing this a bunch of different ways because it will give you a different look. I'm not holding it out and smoothing it out, but if you do and you insist, you know, on using every bit of the surface area of your ribbon, it's going to give you a totally different look than if you just kind of go willy-nilly, which is what I'm doing. I kind of like it to just be whatever it's going to be. Okay, and we're going to wrap back and forth a couple of times. We want to focus the main bulk of this ribbon though. We want that to be towards the middle. Okay, so we want it to be thinner on the edges and we want it to be thicker through the middle. Okay, so you just want to wrap around until you get over here to what I would consider your halfway point. Okay, and now we're just going to go right back down the other direction. Okay, so now we're just moving back towards where we started. If it comes undone, that's totally fine. In fact, I'm going to show you guys, we're going to make this a little messy anyways, so it doesn't have to be super tight. Angie says that would make an amazing boho dream catcher. I totally agree. This silk stuff, I'm telling you, if you guys want to see other projects using this silk ribbon, it is so pretty and so lightweight and so versatile. I would love to do more projects with this, so you guys let me know if that's something you want to see because I love this stuff and I feel like it doesn't get nearly as much love as it deserves. This is just really, really beautiful. Hi Debbie, how are you? I hope you are enjoying your retirement. Thank you for being here. Angie says, yes, do more. You got it, girl. I'm on it. I love this stuff. And Jessie James Beads, you guys go check out when we get through here. Go look because she's got a ton of color choices. There's some really awesome like lime green. There's some purple, some really, really awesome colors that, I love them. Love them, love them, love them. Suzanne has been afraid of this ribbon. Suzanne, there is nothing to be afraid of. The messier, the better. And this stuff is so cool, and it's really forgiving. I know I'm just kind of chatting away, but we're wrapping this around. You can see I've gone back and forth a couple of times. But Suzanne, don't be afraid of this stuff, because like I said, you don't even need findings for this. You can just tie knots in this if you want to. I mean, it's pretty amazing. All right. So here I am up at the end. Okay, I've gone back and forth a couple of times. Tried to keep the bulk of this down here towards the middle. And now I'm going to go back to my wire. Okay, I'm going to take my wire and first of all figure out which direction I was going because I have made a little bit of a mess here. I'm going to wrap this tail one more time, and then I'm going to trim it off because it's really just kind of getting in the way. Okay, so we're getting rid of that guy. Now, there's nothing, you don't need to glue here. You could if you wanted to. You can add a dab of glue, or you can wire wrap, which is what we're going to do. Let's see, like I said, figure out which direction we were going. And just a couple of wraps, and this is going to be secure. There's nothing special that you've got to do to hold this on there. In fact, now we're going to start wrapping all the way around our component, and I'm giving it a lot of space. Okay, you can see there's a wrap here and a wrap here. Giving this a lot of room. Oh no, my bead just rolled off the table. And we're going to do just like we did with the ribbon. Okay, we're going to go all the way to one end to the other end. We're going to wrap around a few times, and then we're going to go right back the other direction. Okay, these wraps don't have to be super tight. They definitely do not have to be pretty. In fact, in my opinion, the messier the better. Will it work with ribbon crimps too? Absolutely. It will, especially with that tapered end. There's a really good area that you can attach those ribbon crimps to. I love using it that way. Or even the little tiny cord ends. We've used them in some of the other projects where we attached, hold on. I'm here at the end. I'm going to wrap around about 3 times. Those small little cord ends, you can use those as well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of different findings that you can use with this stuff. But don't feel like you have to, because like I said, you can just tie knots in this. Okay, now still have a lot of wire here. I'm going to wrap around going the other direction, just kind of crisscrossing over the wraps that I already made. Okay. Kind of like wrapping up a mummy. How weird is that that's my analogy for this? Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what it reminds me of, though. This kind of gauzy ribbon is like, it's like mummy wrap. All right, so you can see going back to the other side, and I am going to end up with a little bit more wire than I needed, but like I said, it's better to be safe than sorry. I started out with a 20-inch piece. You could probably get away with more like a 15-inch piece. Okay. Just wanted to be sure that I had enough here for you guys. All right, so now I'm to the other end, and again, I'm just going to make a couple more little wraps, and then I'm just going to trim this off, okay? And it doesn't look perfect, and that's okay. That's exactly what I want. I want this to be organic. I want this to look like, this is like the equivalent of a messy bun with your hair. You know, it's like, it looks like you just threw it together and it still turned out amazing. Okay, so now we have all of this together, and it's still a little bit too neat for my liking. So I'm going to take a pair of my pliers, okay? And you don't have to do this part if you don't want to, but I like to come in with my pliers and kind of just pull on it. You know, anywhere it's sticking out between the pieces of wire, I want to pull it out of there. You can use your fingers too. I want to pull it out and make it messy. Kelly says, love fiber beads and metal. messily, magically mixed together. Wow, that is a mouthful and I managed to pull it off. Yes, I totally agree with you. I don't know how long the rest of you all have been making jewelry, but personally, I've been making jewelry for a really, really long time, and my tastes have changed so much over the years. I started out, I was all about bling and sparkle, and I still love bling and sparkle. But I tell you what, over the years, the more natural looking stuff, found objects, interesting pendants, Jesse James beads, things like that just really, really get me excited about jewelry design. I'm all about texture and just kind of free flowing looking stuff. Okay, so that's to my liking. I just pulled it out a little bit. You guys don't have to if you don't want to. You can totally skip that step, but I like to pull it out and just make it kind of look messy and try to make it match the other one here. All right, so now let's put together the last little bits of this. Let's do the wire wrapping first, and then we'll put everything together. I had 2 pieces of wire. Let's see. Okay. I've got 2 more pieces. This is just this is where we're going. This is where we are. I'll move this one out of the way for just a second. Okay, so I've got 2 more pieces of the antique brass wire. And these are about 4.5 inches. They're supposed to be. Mine are longer than 4.5. You guys know I always have more. Okay, so we're gonna do the little make your own head pin trick that we did a couple projects back. And for those of you who haven't seen this, this is a good one. So remember it, mark it, save it for later, because I love this trick. I use this all the time. Okay, so I've got a 4.5 inch piece, and I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab the very, very tip of that wire, and I'm going to wrap around the very tip of the pliers. Okay, I've done it once. I'm going to wrap twice. I want to stop where I started. Okay, so when I see that flush end of that wire, that's when I want to stop wrapping. Okay, I'm going to take the wire and bend it up 90 degrees. Okay, and it doesn't have to be pretty, clearly, mine is not. Take it off. You can see I've made a little bit of a loop here. I'm going to take my end and thread it through, just like so. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my nylon jaw pliers, and I'm going to grab that right up against those loops that we made. And then I'm going to take another pair of pliers and grab this wire and pull. Okay, and I'm pulling tight. You can see I'm shaking. That's how hard I'm pulling. You want to give it a nice tug. Okay, and now we've made ourselves a little head pin. Okay, which I love, 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 love. And it's cool because sometimes this antique brass color is hard to find. And in particular, head pins, they're kind of hard to find. I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time. So I like to be able to just use the wire itself. So I'm positive that it's going to match. All right, we're going to thread on one of these 10mm beads from our Dakota Stones strand. Okay, all the way down to the bottom. And now we're going to make a wraps loop. So I'm going to grab that wire right where it's coming out of the bead. I'm going to bend 90 degrees. Okay, just a nice sharp. Sharon, we're using 20 gauge. This is antique brass German style wire. And thank you for being here, Sharon. All right, so I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm grabbing that wire. It's going right between the barrel of the pliers. We're going to go up and over. Okay. Now I'm just going to adjust my grip just a little bit so that I can bring that wire on around. Okay, when I take it off, you can see I've made a loop. Okay, I'm going to switch hands. And now we're going to get a little fancy here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my wraps. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 wraps. That's all I had room for, but see, I've still got all this wire coming out right here. So we're going to take our fingers and very gently guide that wire across the surface of the bead. Okay, and then we're just going to take it and wrap it around that head pin knot that we made at the bottom. Okay, so you can see on the bottom, I just wrapped it around. Okay, so I'm going to take that off the pliers, holding everything with my fingers just to make sure everything is still nice and sturdy. Okay, Might give it another little bit of a wrap, but not much. You don't have to do much here. And then I'm just going to trim the tail off. All we did was just add a decorative little extra. We're extra here. I'm extra for sure. All right, so we're giving it a little extra, and then just check it to make sure that it's not sticking out. You don't want it to get caught in your hair, okay? So there's that guy. Okay, we're gonna do this one more time, and we're gonna do it with the smaller, this is either a 6 or an 8. I have such a hard time checking, but I know it's not as big as this guy. So there you go. This is the smaller glass bead that's on your strand, okay, but not this guy. This is the tiny guy. So this is the middle one. All right. Okay. Let's do this one more time, just so you guys can see. Okay. Grabbing that wire right at the tip. I'm going to wrap around once. Okay. And we're right at the very, very end of our pliers. Wrapping around twice. When I see the end of the wire, I want to stop. Bend it up 90 degrees. Okay. And then I'm going to take that end and stick it through the wraps. Okay. Grabbing with my nylon jaw pliers. And then I'm going to pull. And you really want to pull. Okay. And you've got a couple of things that are actually happening here. Not only are you pulling this through, but because you're pulling it through the nylon jaw pliers, you're actually work hardening this as well. Okay. So you can tell, like, after you've pulled that through there, your wire feels different. It's definitely hardened up from as soft as it was. Okay. So now we're going to thread on our bead, and we're just going to follow the exact same steps. We're going to make the wrapped loop, and then we're going to do our little extra doodad, and then we're going to assemble the rest of our earrings. So I've bent 90 degrees. Okay, grabbing with the round nose pliers, up and over. Adjusting my grip just a little, giving myself some room. I know I'm switching hands, guys. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap 2, 3, back around. Okay, so now I could have squeezed in a 4th wrap, but I'm not going to because I don't want to make a mess. So now I'm going to take that wire and just bring it across the surface of the bead. Okay, just like that, and then we will just want to wrap around the knot that we have at the bottom. So I'll take it off and show it to you so you can see. And if that's too messy for what you like, you can certainly clean this up. But I gotta tell you, this is gonna be hanging up and down. Nobody's gonna see the bottom of that. So you don't really have to worry about it being perfect, okay? Now we're gonna trim our tail off. All right, now we're going to assemble our earring. And this is where I get a little fun. The first thing we're going to do is not all that fun. We're going to find sort of the middle, and see, you can see there's a piece of wire coming across there. Okay, I'm going to go in with my pliers, and I just want to pull up just a little bit to make some room there. Okay, I've just lifted that away from the ribbon and the surface of that ring so that I can get my jump ring in there. Okay, this is one of the, let's see, I've got the gauge or the size. This is an 8mm jump ring out of the Findings pack in the antique brass. It's got a ton of different sizes in it, as big as the 8mm. So we're using the biggest one in there for this, but then we're going to use some of the other sizes too. But where I pulled that little piece of wire up, I'm going to thread. You can see I had just enough room to thread that jump ring through there. And now I'm going to thread on my bead, okay? And I'm putting the agate on the bottom, just because it's a little bigger than that glass bead. And now I'm going to close this back, okay? And now is the part where I get a little, I get a little extra. So on the Dakota Beads stone strand, I always mess that up. There are these little spacers. I don't really know what to call them. They kind of look like pinwheels. They're just these little spacers. You can use them as a spacer if you want to, but I kind of liked them. I like the way that they look, and so I wanted to add those as like a little charm. So we're gonna add that in. And to do that, we're gonna use a couple of different sizes of our jump rings. The main jump ring that's gonna go on, that's gonna hold our ear wire and onto our link is another one of the 8s, but we're gonna use a 5mm. We're actually using two 5mm. Oh, I'm sorry, not two 5mm. We've got one, yeah, we do, two 5mm and a 6mm. I'm sorry, I get a little confused there with all the different sizes there. So we're gonna take this one, the 6 right here. We're gonna open this guy up. Let me just double check here because it was last night when I put this together. I want to be sure that I'm doing it right. Okay, so we're going to thread on, whoops, we're going to thread on our bead. And then we're going to thread on one of these because I just think they're so cool. And this guy's going to kind of, he's not going to cover up our bead, but he's just going to hang with our bead. See how cool that's going to look? Okay, so now we're going to close our jump ring. Okay, and now we are going to, let me double check here, just make sure I got everything going on because I feel like there's an extra jump ring here. Oh, there is. Okay, sorry, just want to be sure we're doing this the right way. All right, so we're going to open up one of these 5mm jump rings. We're going to thread that on to the 6mm jump ring that we just used, and now we're going to thread that on to the big guy here. Okay, we're going to close that up. A lot of opening and closing jump rings here. You can do this in whatever order you want to. There's probably a more efficient way, I'm sure. Now we're going to open this 8mm jump ring up and we're going to thread this guy. Like I said, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but we're just going with it. All right, so we're going to thread him on right here to our link, and we're going to thread on another one of those little 5mm jump rings, and then we're going to close this up. Reason being, because our ear wire goes one direction. See, they're both going in the same direction, so we need to have that extra link in there to make sure that our ear wire hangs the right way, and that's going to be this little 5mm guy that we added. Okay, now you can either open up the jump ring or you can open up the ear wire. I'm going to open the jump ring just because I've already got it here in my hands. And then I'm going to thread on the ear wire. Whoops. Didn't quite open it up enough. Oh, I can't see. There we go. It's not going the right direction. So hard to tell when you're holding everything. All right, and that's it, you guys. You lay that guy down and you can see got two really, really cool, definitely different earrings here. I can promise you, you're not going to find these. You're not just going to be able to go to the box store and find these, right? Who has time for box store earrings? Handmade, that's the way to go. And everything about this, except for the jump rings, is handmade. We've got all of our little wire wrapping. We've got this hand-dyed silk. And we've got the beautiful chain component that we have everything built up on. Just a really, really cool pair of earrings. Added this little guy off the strand just because I just thought that was so cool. Definitely a fun pair of earrings for this time of year. All right, I'm going to flip you guys around because I wanted to show you something before we go. Oops. Hi. All right, so I was snooping around on the Jesse James website. That's how I found the fairy silk, because I like to check the Jesse James website. I don't know, you guys probably do this too, but I check it all the time. Just want to see what's new, want to look again to see, you know, what I missed the last time I looked. I'm always looking, always interested in looking for inspiration. And so I came across the fairy silk, thought it was phenomenal, and had to use it. But then I was going through the pendants section. If you guys haven't checked out the section of pendants in Jesse James Beads, not only do they do beads very, very well, but they do pendants really well as also. That didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But anyway, so I found a pendant and I had to make a necklace out of it, and I wanted to show it to you guys because I thought it was so look at this. Okay, first of all, I completely underestimated the size of this guy. When you see it on the computer, it is not nearly, just, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking like half the size when it got here. I was like, oh wow, it's even more fabulous than than I expected. So I wanted to show that to you guys because there are so many amazing pendants on the site. And pendants are kind of my thing right now, so I just wanted to show this to you because this was not really project worthy. It was just wire wrapping over and over and over again, but I wanted to show this off and kind of point you guys in that direction. If you're looking for some really interesting pieces for projects, or you're looking for inspiration, the pendants, that whole section, like if I had one of each, oh, I would be in love. I could make so many different things. So definitely check that out. I mean, Jessie James beads, they're good for everything. They've got silk, they've got chain, they've got gorgeous beads, they've got pendants galore. So a little bit of everything. It's just a one-stop shop. And of course now you can get all of the items that we're using. You can get these little Bead-A-Lawn Findings packs, which are phenomenal. I just throw these in my bag and I'm ready to go. So that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Angie says it's half the size of your head. Yeah, it is. I got a pretty big head. That's impressive. All right, so that's it for me, you guys. If you want to see some more of the silk ribbon projects, let me know. We'll work those out later on because I know that they will definitely look really pretty with some more Jessie James beads. And anything else you guys want to see, definitely let us know because we're always interested in any suggestions that you've got. And I will see you guys same time, same place next week. Bye guys. Thanks for being here.